My name is Maurice Maglia, and I'm a practice development consultant here at Accountants World. This webinar will not be a PowerPoint presentation. What you'll see is a live demonstration of Payroll Relief and just some of the features Payroll Relief has built into it that gives firms the ability to increase their profits by more than 30% because, as I just said, they can process more payrolls more accurately in less time with less staff. How did we come up with this 30% figure? We surveyed our users. They told us that's how much more they're earning because of our time-saving features, which we'll show you in a few minutes. So you're in the right webinar if you want to see cloud-based software that will help you to make more money doing payroll and doing it the way that you want to do it. Meaning you decide how much of the process you want to do yourself or how much you want to outsource to your clients. Today, I'll be assisted by Roger Batista, who's one of our payroll specialists. He leads up a team that ensures a smooth transition process and shares best practices with our users. So let's get started. In about 2 minutes, we'll show you Payroll Relief, but first, we'll look at our agenda in a couple of slides to give you some context of who we are and what Payroll Relief has achieved in the marketplace. All right, first we're going to go over a quick overview of Accountants World. Then Roger will take you through the live demonstration of Payroll Relief. Then I'll review the pricing with you. And lastly, for those of you with a thriving payroll practice who are really looking to grow your practice, we have a special offer for you today that will enable you to make a lot of money in your first year. We're talking a significant amount of money, so we'll talk about that special offer last. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Accountants World. We build only cloud-based software products strictly for accountants. We've been in business for over 30 years. We created the first truly cloud-based payroll processing software exclusively for accountants like you. You should know that we never sell directly to your clients because we believe that they're your most important asset and only you should deal with them and profit from them. So you won't have to worry about us advertising to your clients to provide services such as payroll processing, which is now such an easy service to provide and so very lucrative. Your clients are your clients, and we won't use you as a marketing tool to get to them. We want to be your partner for success, because when you win, we win. Those aren't just words. You'll see that in the products that we build and in the prices that we charge. Now, why do we build products only on the cloud? Simply because it is the best and most efficient way for you to deliver services to your clients, especially when you use our suite of products that are designed to work seamlessly together. We built our solutions from the ground up, so we have no legacy issues or speed issues. With our products, you'll have a cost-effective virtual office, which means you'll have access to all of your software anytime, anywhere, and from any device. For example, we just had a client that went on vacation on a safari to Africa, and he didn't miss processing a single payroll because he was using Payroll Relief. That's the power of the cloud. Plus, you won't have to worry about different versions of the same program, there's no costly upkeep of computer systems, and most importantly, you'll have the ability to better collaborate with your clients. We have unique products that let you do more work, faster, and more accurately, which leads to strengthening client relationships. Payroll Relief is one of our solutions that does that, and it's the one you're here to see. So let's start with what separates Payroll Relief from its competitors. All right, Payroll Relief has unparalleled automation of all of the compliance tasks. All right, so you're going to see that when Roger goes through the demo with you today. The tax payments, the compliance form filing, it's all done automatically. Next up, we have next generation batch processing of checks and W-2s. All right, that's going to provide more automation for you and help you to get things done faster, which will save you time. Then Payroll Relief has comprehensive management tools and reporting that you could use to manage and analyze your payroll business. And it's got extensive capabilities to process payrolls for companies of all sizes and needs. In fact, there is no limit to the size of the payrolls you can process using Payroll Relief. And you get support unlimited at no additional cost. Now, your cost is going to be based on your check volume, not your client count, so generating profits is even easier. Your price per check includes W-2s, 1099s, and all the other reporting requirements. All right, It's because of these features that we have that Payroll Relief processes over $4.5 billion in transactions every year, and Accountants World is one of only a handful of companies that's passed the IRS assurance testing system. In fact, CPA Practice Advisor has given us their highest rating, which is 5 stars, 4 years in a row. And because of the features that we have, and as a testament of how good Payroll Relief really is, these are just some of the top firms that are using Payroll Relief today. Many of these firms are processing well over 100,000 checks per year. Many are top 100 accounting firms. All right, so as you see, Seidel Schroeder, HBK, Elite Payroll Solutions, Prominent Payroll, Swift Checks, even RSM McGladdery, the #5 firm in the world. We've even assisted on sales calls with these clients to help them land some of their bigger clients. All right, so these are some of these payroll firms. They're firms that are competing with ADP and Paychex, and you'll be able to do that too using Payroll Relief. So now we're going to start off the live demo by starting off on a website. And I want you to envision this being your website, okay? All right, and we're starting off on a website because we wanted you to know that we're going to be able to drive even more traffic to your site. Now, how is this? Because every time one of your client's employees goes to log in to get their pay stubs and W-2s, they'll be logging in from your site. So if you're doing payroll for 500, 1,000 employees, that's 500 or 1,000 pairs of new eyes that'll be in front of your site to see all of the services that you have to offer. And that'll be big during tax season. All right. When you log into the system, you'll be taken to your portal. Now, this is a completely cloud-based system that you'll be able to access from anywhere at any time. It is privately branded, so in the top left-hand corner, that's where your logo would go. Any of the solutions that you have with us would be on the left-hand side. Any webinars that we have coming up would be on the right. Now, as you can see also on the left-hand side, we've got a fully integrated suite of solutions, including our Accounting Power solution, which is a write-up, trial, balance, and bookkeeping package that you can use to do accounting work for your clients. After-the-fact payroll, which will enable you to just do compliance forms for those clients you're not running live payroll for. Cloud Cabinet, which is a document management system and client document portal that you can use to store and share documents with your clients. Practice Relief, which is a time and billing system. And lastly, Payroll Relief, which is the solution that you're here to see today. So I'm going to turn the presentation now over to Roger Batista, who will walk you through a demonstration of Payroll Relief. Roger?
Thank you, Marie. Thank you for the great overview of Payroll Relief. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger Batista. I'm a practice development specialist here at Accountants World, and it's going to be my pleasure today to give you an overview of our Payroll Relief product. Now, before I get into the actual product itself, I want to touch on a few things. First thing I want to say is that Payroll Relief is a cloud-based program designed completely from the ground up to offer payroll services for a firm. It's not just designed to handle 1 or 2 payrolls. It's not designed for a user-designed concept in offering payroll, like, for example, Intuit QuickBooks. It's really designed for a firm to be able to manage a full payroll practice, whether it's 5, 10, 50, 100 clients. And payrolls is large anywhere from 1 employee, one employee, all the way up to 1,500, 1,800, 2,000 employees without a problem. That's the kind of power that's behind Payroll Relief. Now, the next thing that's important is all the different pay types that Payroll Relief can handle. It isn't just handling the basic standard payrolls or after-the-fact type payrolls, which it can also do, but it's really designed with the power and the features to be able to handle any kind of payroll. For example, restaurants, certified payrolls, etc. It provides you with that power that you need, that kind of application power in order to be able to offer the proper services in the payroll genre. With that in mind, it's very important to understand that Payroll Relief will allow you to compete with the ADPs of the world. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that you're going to be able to have the same power that the ADP bureau, third-party bureaus out there have in order to offer payroll. And with that in mind, let me now touch on what's so important about this screen. Payroll Relief has a multitude of screens that allows you to see snapshots, entire views of a lot of information about your payroll service. Let's take this payroll snapshot. Here you're looking at all the clients together at one time that you're offering payroll services for. You obviously get to see their name, EIN number, if there's direct deposit involved, and payrolls that are being approved. But here's the other things that are also very important. You can see the next day, the next pay date that a payroll has to be run by. You're told, based on that pay date, what is the date that you have to process that payroll. You also get to see the period ending date of those payrolls and the stage that these different payrolls are in, because Payroll Relief allows you to have multiple staff members logged in simultaneously at the same time at multiple locations, all at the same time. So therefore, Joe could be running a payroll in New York and Frank could be running a payroll in New Jersey, for example, or Connecticut. And therefore, that you need to know what status these different payrolls are, whether you're in a pending stage or an entry stage, or the payroll has been approved. Additionally, the program also lets you see when the next tax due date is, and if you were running payrolls manually, you'll be able to see any forms that may have been passed due, because normally the program can handle all of this electronically. Now, we're looking at all these employers at one shot, and we want to maybe focus on one particular one. So let me take you to one. Let me take you to Roger's Restaurant by going to the dashboard and looking at some details here. Now, here's an employer that is rather complex as set up, and we have multiple payday reminders. We have 3 different pay schedules set up for this employer. Payroll Relief handles that effortlessly, and weekly, biweekly, monthly, etc. It also lets you know, going all the way out for the month of January, any taxes that are due, any forms that are due, right? And notice it has multiple states, because Payroll Relief is capable of running payroll in all 50 states and making all the calculations and generating all the forms. But here's another trinket of information that's really important. When you run a payroll, or before you actually run it, you want to be sure, you want to have that confidence, that comfort level, that when you get to process the payroll, from an operational standpoint, all the employer and employees are set up correctly. In the dashboard, you get to see employer warning. So here we're being warned, hey, you ran some payrolls out of sequence. You probably wouldn't remember that normally, but it's letting you know, because the program is analyzing this, that there are payments that are out of frequency which could affect the federal and state tax payments. Okay, so it's just letting you know, just like if you were missing a UI number, account number, or you're missing the UI rate, or any information regarding the employer is going to impact the running of the payroll, you're being warned beforehand so you can take appropriate action and get it resolved. Now, with that in mind, let's talk about more automation, because Payroll Relief is designed all about automation. How do you collect the hours right now? Think about it. Give it a second thought, if you will. Are you getting a fax sheet from the employer? Or are they calling it over the phone, and then you're writing it down? Okay, maybe you're doing it that way now. I'm going to show you 3 distinct, productive, efficient ways and accurate ways of collecting the data entry hours for running a payroll for your clients. Let's take a look closely by going into Payroll Processing, Payroll Entry. Now, notice we have here an employer, and in fact, let's switch to another pay schedule. Let's switch to a monthly. A few more people in there. And I notice how it quickly changed from one frequency to another on the fly. So here we have all the employees, and all the default hours are already entered. Now, imagine, if you will, you can enter the hours here extremely easily. The client might send you a fax data sheet. So you come to the screen, all the defaults are in, and notice, like I said, the hours are in, these are all defaults, right? So if you needed to change something, you can simply override that, and you can change that, let's say, to 180 hours if need be. And that happens right on the fly. Now, what's so important about this word default that I'm using? Payroll Relief loves defaults. The more defaults, the better. And think about it. Why? Simple. The reason is because when you have defaults, you only have to make changes to the exceptions. And there's always going to be less exceptions than defaults. What that in turn ultimately means is that you only have to make a few minor changes when you're running a payroll. It means faster, more productive, more accurate data entry, less chance for error. And that's really the name of the game when you're running payroll. Now, let's look at another way of getting the hours in an even better way. Have you thought about this? What about if you had a means of generating an Excel spreadsheet that you can send to the client and they can fill it out for you? Voila, there it is. Again, all the hours have been entered already for you as defaults, but they're also entered, guess what, for the employer. The employer is going to love you for this because what happens is they, again, also have to enter only the changes. That's all they have to enter, and everything else stays the same. Then they take this Excel, they email it back to you, and all you have to do is upload. Again, accuracy, speed, in getting the hours in as quickly and as efficiently as possible. That's the name of the game. But I'm going to show you one last way that you can get the hours in. How about if you gave the client the ability to go ahead and enter the hours themselves? That is right. You can give the client the ability to go in and enter the hours. Again, they only have to make the exceptions. And all the information can be entered into the screen. Once they enter the hours, and you can go ahead and manage the payrolls to make sure there's no errors. Now let me touch on one other thing that's important because I talked about how Payroll Relief can handle any kind of payroll. Let's look carefully at this gray bar that's up here. Notice that it has these short 5-character acronyms, and when you hover over them, you actually get the name of what these different pay types are. Now, Payroll Relief handles unlimited number of pay types, unlimited number of deductions. Here, this employer, it happens to be Rogers Restaurant, so it's a restaurant employer, and of course you have cash tips and paycheck tips. But you can generate any kind of deduction and pay type that you need specific to the employer. Very, very important to have a robust payroll program that can do these kind of payrolls so you can manage no matter what is thrown at you and deal with it effectively. Now, you got the hours in, and you're going to go to the next step. And what is that? You're going to calculate the payroll. We go ahead and we do the calculation, and we're going to get a confirmation that the payroll was successfully calculated. That gives us level 1 of confidence that we have this payroll done correctly. We're taken to a payroll summary screen here, right? We're given, again, a snapshot view, if you will, of this payroll and the total cost of the payroll. So you can see immediately if there's something out of balance. But you want to look deeper. You want to find out exactly what is going on here. How were all the changes that you made for a particular employee or the employer taking place? Hence, reports. This is the first set of a multitude of reports that Payroll Relief has. And notice how beautiful it's laid out and easy to read, which is extremely important. Unlike if any of you have experienced ADP reports that are coming out of the mainframe, those you have practically got to have an Einstein degree of mathematics to be able to figure it out. But Payroll Relief doesn't do that. It gives you a beautifully designed report, and they're all like that. So this is a pre-approval report. It's a payroll register report. It has every single employee listed. Notice that even because of the complexity of payrolls that Payroll Relief can handle, we have unlimited locations, unlimited departments, and this is all broken out by department and by location, employee by employee. So we can see per employee all their deductions year to date and current calculations, and it has that for every single employee, so you can drill down and see if everything looks good. But we don't stop there. We go further than that. We provide you with a payroll comparison report. Well, what is this? The purpose of the payroll comparison report is to allow you to see if there's any kind of variance, and we even measure the variance mathematically for you between a current payroll and the previous payroll. So if there's a large variance, maybe there should be. Maybe at this time of the year there are bonuses, which is pretty normal. Or maybe there shouldn't be. Maybe they should be very close. That would give you an idea to go back and maybe want to check a little closer to make sure that everything was entered accurately the way you had intended. So you send, and by the way, this report you just looked at, or that I just demonstrated to you, you can send to your client. Let them review that payroll also to make sure that it is what they intended it to be. That way they can tell you there's a problem, get back to you on a timely basis, and make the correction so you don't have to run a corrected payroll after you printed the checks and do all that extra work needlessly. Again, productivity and accuracy is the name of the game. Now, Payroll Relief is so efficient that it only requires a matter of a few clicks to get a payroll completely done from beginning to end. So the next step is to approve the payroll, and the button is right there. But before I do that, I want to tell you what's going to happen, because there's a lot of magic. There's a lot of things that happen when I click this approve button. So let me tell you in detail what it happens. Number one, there's a notcher file if you're doing direct deposit. That notcher file is completely built and generated for you. It is sent to our bank, so it gets processed and handles the direct deposit of the employee. Taxes. Any taxes that need to be paid are scheduled to be paid and calculated, of course, so that they can be paid on time. Forms. All the compliance forms, state by state, are updated on the fly when you approve this payroll. Last but not least, reports. Payroll Relief has 38 different reports. All those reports are updated immediately when you approve that payroll so that you can go in and verify any piece of information that you need to verify about that payroll that you have done. There is no delay when you do that. So let me say this one more time, because sometimes it's so much that it might even go over your head. Automation is the name of the game. Approval and automation. So notcher file. Tax deposits get scheduled and paid if necessary. Reports get generated on the fly, and all your forms are filled out immediately so that you have them ready. If you want to view them, you can see if there's anything wrong. And if there were corrections that have to be made, it's very, very easy to make. So let's go ahead and click Approve. And it's going to take us to the next logical step. Again, confirmation that everything was fine, and it takes us to the check printing screen. Now, remember what I said in the beginning. I wanted to go through each step to show you what really happens along the way, because Payroll Relief is designed to handle a lot of payrolls. So we went through one payroll, step by step, logically through, to show you how quickly and how easy it is to get one payroll approved. Now, what would happen if I said to you that you can do the same thing? Because we talked about the power that the Payroll Bureau has. What do? They do batch processing. They have these tools and master computers, huge mainframes that can run these payrolls, hundreds and thousands of them at one time, right? You have the same power here in Payroll Relief that you can put that into your office. So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. How would you be able to manage that currently in your system? Now, I do want to stop and mention one thing that's really important. We ran that payroll, we approved that payroll, right? And it's possible, maybe not, but it's possible that you might want to look in more detail at all these things that happen in the background, like the payments, for example. Payroll Relief allows you to see, because I was saying before, all these payments that happen on the fly, tells you, schedules them for you, tells you what the payments are, breaks them out. For example, let's pick one that will have, probably a federal one usually has a whole bunch. So the federal one, on the pay date, break out all the taxes and what constitutes that total amount. But every single payment for every single coupon is generated, and it allows you to verify that. It allows you to verify any payments that you haven't made for you to be able to make manual payments, and additionally in special payment options, all this electronic stuff that happens in the background I'm talking about, you can actually make changes to it if need be. For you can make a payment earlier, you can change the amount, you can disable it, etc. So all that power is put right in your hands. Now let's go back to the payroll that we just processed before. So we looked at the payroll and it got approved. Actually, we were in the check printing screen before. So in the check printing screen, and we had gone here and we were talking about the payroll got approved, and we are now ready to print the checks for one employer. But as I was saying, what would happen if you were able to run payroll for a whole multitude of employers at once? Well, that's the whole idea behind batch processing. So let me ask you a question. Think about this. Whether it's at the end of the year, whether it's W-2s, whether it is processing a multitude of payrolls at once, whether it's be able to print a multitude of checks at once, do you currently have that kind of capability in your current payroll program to accomplish that? I'd really be interested to know. And what I'd like to do is take a real quick poll. Can you batch process your payrolls, your W-2s, and your checks? I'll give you a few minutes to handle that. Well, thank you all so much for taking the time out for a few moments to comment on how you process batch processing currently. We have a large number of users that obviously are not able to, and it's no surprise to me that that is the case, because that's usually in all the calls that I do here at Accounts World with new accounts, very, very few firms are capable of doing batch processing. And let's talk about, we're going to look at what batch processing is all about. Batch processing means that if you have checked a multitude of payrolls, for example, and it could be 1, it could be 20, it could be 5, it doesn't matter. It depends on how many it is for that pay period that you're doing payroll for, right? They'll all be listed on the screen. And not only that, but the batch processing is actually verifying the payrolls to make sure that there are no exceptions. An exception would be an error. You want to be able to know that there's a problem. Worst thing is to process a payroll and then find out that it doesn't go through because there's a problem. So you can decide whether you can individually pick specific payrolls, or you can pick them all at one click. And then all you have to do is click approve. All these payrolls are approved. But here's what happens when you click the approve. And I'm going to say it again. Remember I said what happens for one employer. Well, when we click approve, for all these employers, we're generating a notch file. It happens in the background on its own. You do nothing. It just goes magically sent to the bank. Checks get scheduled to be printed. Forms are updated. Taxes are scheduled to be paid automatically without you doing anything. You don't have to click any email reminders. You don't have to click any reports or anything in the program to get an electronic payment paid. It just happens on its own when you click that. Everything is scheduled. That's what I mean by automated batch processing. Okay. Now that's just processing the payroll. We have the same feature for check printing. Same logic applies. All the payrolls that you approved, they'll be ready to have the check printed or a direct deposit voucher printed. And you can select the specific type of microcheck that you're using. Again, you select the specific check, or you select them all, and you click print, and they are printed with separator papers. Additionally, you can email those checks to the client, and then they can print it on their end. So you don't even have to do the batch check printing. They can do that for you individually on their end, and you don't have to spend the time doing that. W-2s. Think about this. Are you actually able at the end of the year, and you only have now, remember, you can thank IRS. Aren't they great guys? They're fantastic. I just love them. At the end of the year, they decided, with practically no notice at all, that you have to go ahead and submit, not just to the employees your W-2s by January 31st, but you have to send them the W-2s to the government by the end of the month, 31st also. Wow, that's pretty interesting. So you have limited time to get this done. Before you had several months, right? No more. Again, thank IRS. Well, guess what? Payroll Relief comes to the rescue. Here you have batch processing of your W-2s. I don't know of any program out there in this price range that has the ability to batch process W-2. So when I said batch processing W-2s, check printing, batch processing and approving payrolls, that's what I mean by batch processing. And there's not many programs out there that have it at all. So here, what do you have to do? Well, again, same thing as we talked about before. You verified the W-2s. You've had the time to do that. You only have 31 days, but that's enough time, right? Of course it is. And now you got to get them out to IRS quickly. Well, you either select the ones you want to send out, or you click the checkbox, and they're all checked out. You can print them. You can release them to the employee portal. Ooh, what is that? Let me just quickly show you. Employee portal is the ability for employees to be able to not only view their pay stub and their profile, but they can also view the W-2s. Now, what's so special about this is that it uses regular stock 4-up paper, right? If you were printing this, or the employee can print it on regular stock paper, and he has the W-2 fully out for his disposal. But here's the other thing that's important. In the profile, the employee can opt to have, by giving consent, having W-2 distribution electronically of that W-2 to him, so you don't have to print it at all. Extremely important. Oh, and by the way, let me not forget, the employee portal, it's included with the program. No additional charge. Let's go back for a second, batch to processing, because you know what? There's more. Client notifications, another feature of batch processing. Well, you know, there will be times when you have to send an employee or employer notification of changes of information. You want to generate a professional letter quickly to each one of them, or selective ones. Again, Payroll Relief comes to the rescue flawlessly by giving you this ability. You can select individual employers, or you can select them all, and you click on email. And what have we done to make things happen for you and make it more productive? We provided you a list of pre-canned emails that already have the tokens inserted, so that when that email comes out, everything is pre-populated and filled. Imagine a couple of clicks and you got this done. You didn't have to go into Microsoft Word to do a mail merge. So here's an example. This is letting us know that there's going to be a change, right? The next holiday that comes up, it will be automatically populated, and it'll go out to the client. But guess what? One size doesn't fit all, right? Maybe there's a certain different kind of letter you want to send. Or maybe you don't like this one and you want to do your own. Be my guest. On comes custom emails. You can generate any custom email with the familiar Microsoft formatting features that you're already using in Word right here, and you just select the clients and send this out. That is all the features that we have in check processing, batch processing. Now, that's another thing I want to point out. I think everyone's heard about the Obamacare, and we provide you with full-time equivalence reports that helps you analyze that. But we go one step further. we generate the 1094 and 1095Cs. So they're filled out correctly, and they can be e-filed directly from the program in a batch way also. Now, let's look for a second at the multitude of reports that Payroll Relief has. They're broken out into a series of 4 different sets: payroll, compliance, management, and employee. And let's take a quick look at them. Here are your payroll reports, and again, you have filtering that allows you the ability to break it down by locations or by specific payroll, etc. You have compliance reports, your tax liability and payments, your tax payments, states, locals, taxable wages, W-2 summary reports, management reports. Again, a multitude of reports for you to be able to handle payroll, all the different kind of payroll analysis that you need to do at the firm level. And again, as I mentioned before, you have your full-time equivalence report to help you manage Obamacare with the employer. And understand, this is very important, Payroll Relief not only provides you with the PDF report, which, as you saw before, is beautifully laid out. A lot of effort goes into the design of this. It's not an afterthought. But you can email the reports to the client. You can archive them in the cloud cabinet, or you can put them into Excel and Word. And why is that important? Because you do not need a report writer. By having the capability of using a commonly well-known application like Excel that every accounting firm has, you're able to put that data into the Excel program and be able to manipulate it and merge the data as you see fit for your individual client. But you know what? Again, we always know that one report or 2 reports that we have in the program might not be everything that you need for that one client, because one size doesn't fit all. Oh, one more set of reports, employee reports. Let me not forget that. We can't forget the employees. It's so important. They're what makes the reason that we do payroll, right? But let's talk about report sets. All those reports that I mentioned to you, and it's a total of 38 of them. You can select individual reports for each individual client, hence the tool Build Sets. The Build Sets allows you to select any of those reports customized for each employer. You give it a name, and every employer can have their own set, so no 2 employers are exactly the same. And that allows you to have this custom set of reports for each one of them. Now, you probably are thinking, well, I have all this, and I also have my accounting program, and I have to transfer the journal entries over. How do I do that? Well, we've given that a lot of thought also. There's integration from Payroll Relief into all the commonly well-known applications out there. Certainly Accounting Power. If any of you have our Accounting Power application, then you know what I'm talking about. All the journal entries will flow right over into the correct accounts. But whether you have the QuickBooks Desktop or the QuickBooks Online, by the click of one button, we have a payroll link that allows the merging of the data between the 2 applications, and it's perfect handshaking. But if you don't happen to have one of those, you can use the Export GL and bring over all that data over. This is all very important for you to be aware of, and we also have integration with CS Payroll or CSA Accounting. Now, the next thing you're probably thinking, well, I'm getting close to the end of the year. How am I going to get the data into Payroll Relief? I don't have a lot of time. Fear not, Payroll Relief comes to the rescue again. We have the ability to allow you to import data from your current payroll program, the QuickBooks on desktop, Peachtree, again, CS Accounting, or the other Excel. So it'll allow you to collect employee information and get it into the program as quickly as possible, and quite easily, so you don't have to do it all manually by hand. That will save you a lot of time. You might say, well, gee, I know it's late, but there are a few employers that I like to get their prior payrolls in. How do I do that? Same thing. We have a similar Excel template in Payroll Processing that allows you to enter all that information into the Excel and get all the 2016 data into Payroll Relief, so you can wrap up 2016 in January 2017 within Payroll Relief if you so choose to. With that in mind, I hope I've given you a good overview of what the capabilities of Payroll Relief are, all the automation that's built into it, all the productivity that's built into it, all the effort that went behind in this cloud-based program, this unprecedented cloud-based program that has won multiple awards over the last several years. With that, I'd like to turn this back to Marie to do a wrap-up and to talk about the pricing, which I'm sure you will be extremely impressed. Thank you so much. And by the way, have a lovely holiday.
All right, thank you, Roger, for doing an excellent presentation of Payroll Relief. What we're going to do now is just recap some of the key benefits of Payroll Relief that Roger just talked about. With Payroll Relief, you'll be able to increase your profits on average by 30%. All right, you'll be able to earn profits of a minimum of $3 to $5 per check. And the way that you'll do that is using the full automation features that Payroll Relief has, the direct deposits, the e-filing of the tax forms, the e-payments of the taxes, the batch processing of checks and W-2s. You'll be able to collaborate and communicate better with your clients, giving them as little or as much access as you'd like to the payroll program, which puts you in control. Payroll Relief has integration with accounting programs. If you have accounting power, you'll have the seamless flow of data from one program to the next. We have comprehensive reporting and secure auto-archiving of documents if you have our Cloud Cabinet document management solution. You'll be able to see all of your clients in one place through our global client management features. And as we mentioned earlier, Payroll Relief will help you to increase traffic to your website because every time employees need their pay stubs, they'll be going to your website. Lastly, support, webinars, and training are all included. Okay, so we're going to talk about pricing now. The pricing that we have is pricing that will help you to compete or enable you to compete with the larger payroll service bureaus like ADP and Paychex, because that is what Payroll Relief is. It's payroll service bureau processing software. It starts out at $1.15 per check and can go as low as 45 cents a check depending upon how many checks you're running per year. The pricing's all inclusive. There's no additional fees for W-2s or 1099s, no additional fees for direct deposits, and support is included. All right, it's all included. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a special for qualified firms on the call today. It's for unlimited processing. It's a flat first-year pricing designed for growth. Okay, you have 12 months to be able to process an unlimited amount of payrolls, and that includes everything, for only $14.95. As I said before, it's all inclusive. It includes the W-2s, the 1099s, the e-filing of the forms and the taxes, the direct deposits and support. You'll get all of that for $14.95 in your first year. Okay. I only have one thing left, and that's a poll question. So if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to answer this last poll question, just let us know how you'd like to proceed. Many of you on the call today may have already taken a look at Payroll Relief in the past. All right, this may be your last stop before purchasing Payroll Relief. If so, we'd like to offer you a 10% discount. It's good until the end of December. Okay, it's 10% off of the $14.95. Next, you can indicate that you'd like a one-on-one demonstration where we'll have a practice development consultant go over the software with you and you can ask any questions that you might have. In the notes section for the webinar, you can indicate a day and a time that might be convenient for you, and we'll have someone give you a call to schedule something. Lastly, if you just have some questions that you'd like answered, you can indicate that as well. We'd like to thank you so much for your time in attending today, and we hope you have a great holiday, and we hope to hear from you soon.